Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Kaylin, and I've just been thinking about ways that I want to keep November and December low cost months because I'm preparing for a no-buy year next year, and I just don't want Christmas to become stressful. I feel like consumerism and rushing around really takes the joy out of like the Christmas season, and Christmas is something that I actually used to always love, but I feel like the madness has kind of taken away a lot of the joy that it brings with it. And I was talking to a viewer who kind of expressed the same feelings about it and said that she was going to kind of focus more on the time spent with people and the activities she can do with her kids at home over like rushing around feeling like you have to spend tons of money to satisfy everyone. And I'm really fed up. Maybe it's because of my age as well. I'm just fed up with how it is built up to be such a massive thing every single year, and then the day that it finishes, it's like, right, that's it, it's done. And then everything that was being sold as if it was extremely valuable before Christmas, the day after suddenly becomes cheap, and they're just trying to shift it all in the sale. I feel like there's kind of some pressure as soon as Christmas is over to start stocking up again for next year and to shop in sales for Christmas items to save money later on. And although there's some value in doing that, I think that I can never get in the right mindset to do that after Christmas. Once it ends, I don't really feel like shopping for Christmas stuff anymore. I'm kind of burnt out with the whole thing by then, and I don't want to have to think about it the next year yet. So that is something I don't tend to do. I was looking through my crazy cupboard, the one that always gets so disorganized, and I found some Christmas cards from that I had bought in the sale last year, so I don't have to get those. I found Christmas cards for my kids to give to their friends in school. They like to do that every year where they do one for everyone in the class, and I feel like it can be made into an activity that takes a whole afternoon because they have to remember everybody and write little messages, draw pictures, and they really enjoy giving them to their friends. I don't like force them to do that, like they want to do it. So I had actually accidentally last year bought 4 packs of the classroom cards rather than 2 because I bought some so early. I forgot I'd bought them and then rebought them. So we have those already for this year. I got some gift tags in the sale last year, so I already have those. I'm not going to go crazy with wrapping. I feel like wrapping causes us nearly as much stress at Christmas time as buying and all of the other pressures that come along with preparing for it. I just feel like there's a huge amount of wrapping to do. Like even just wrapping for my kids on its own is a lot of work, and my mom was talking about this too because she said it just kind of floors her doing all the wrapping, and I know she had cut back on it a lot in the last couple of years. Maybe it makes a big difference to kids, but I don't think it does for adults because it hides the gift for a second, but a bag can do that too, and it's always nice to get a little gift whether it's wrapped or not. And I just think I want to save myself a lot of the stress of trying to wrap everything, and also the waste of going through so much sellotape and wrapping paper knowing that it can't be recycled. And even if you go down the route of buying recyclable paper, it's so expensive, and I just think it's not necessary. So that's one thing I'm going to cut out and not worry as much about this year. I will be wrapping my kids' presents, although their present from me is a bike, and they'll be coming with me to pick them up before Christmas, so it's not like I have to wrap that. And I just think that it's one way that you can eliminate some of the stress for yourself. And maybe you are one of those people who's naturally amazing at wrapping, and I actually worked in a shop before where I had to wrap things, and in that atmosphere I quite enjoyed it, but I hate whenever you feel like the clock's ticking and you have to get everything wrapped, and it's just so repetitive and there's so much to do at once. I'm also going to avoid ordering things online as much this year. I have decided to support like local sellers by going to little Christmas markets specifically to buy gifts for other people. I did go to a market, which I'll talk about after, yesterday, and that was a bit different, but overall, any of the markets I attend, I want to plan to go intentionally in advance. I don't want to stay for a very long time because then you don't get tempted to buy things you haven't planned to. I want to kind of get in and out and get personal gifts for people and then in that way I can support local crafters and stuff. But it's like the gifts are just more meaningful and maybe smaller than something you could splurge on that's not made to last, or it's not actually suited to the person that you've bought it for. You're just kind of ticking a box on a list. So I want to do that. I've already started to do that a bit, as I mentioned before. When I went to the Fine and Dandy market in Belfast, I did quite a lot of Christmas shopping at that, and that was the reason I went, and overall I did stick to that, and I felt like it was a very productive day in that way. And whenever you know you have to buy Christmas presents, but you can combine it with something you enjoy doing. Like, I just love going to markets and fairs and like buying vintage things or buying handmade things and meeting artists and chatting with them. That is way more like preferable to me than going into some kind of shop where you're anonymous. Basically, you're just buying all this rubbish, and then you don't even exchange more than 2 words with the person at the till. So that's one way that I'm going to make Christmas less stressful for myself this year. I'm removing the need to book paid events. We do have a couple of things booked that we're paid for. One is the pantomime in Belfast, which is really funny, and I feel like it's a worthwhile event. It's expensive, but we booked it like a year ago after we went to it last year for the first time as a family. And I didn't mind that cost at the time because I felt like it is a worthy investment, and we all have a great time together at it. The kids love it, we all find it funny and have a good laugh. And because I had paid for it before I kind of got into all my no-buy stuff, I don't feel bad about it. It's already paid for. I don't need to pay anything else towards it. The other paid event that I have booked is a silly one. Last year, at my partner's work, I found out that they had a Santa grotto for dogs. And at the time, I kind of made fun of it and was like, why would anyone pay to take their dog to meet Santa? It's not like they know who Santa is, and just basically going on about how ridiculous it was and how it's kind of a waste of time. But now that I have a dog, apparently I have changed my entire mindset on the thing, and I've booked Santa paws for him, because for some reason when you have your own dog, it seems to change your outlook, and I now think it would be cute for him to get a photo with Santa and to see him like wearing like a Christmas hat or something. It's probably more for us than it is for him, and I feel like my kids are at that stage now where they're a bit too old for like Santa grottos, so this is like an alternative to that where they can still come along and enjoy seeing him doing it. Basically, I just treat him like he's my baby. Other than that, I feel like I've been quite restrained. Ordinarily, I would have always booked the Enchanted Garden, as I'd mentioned before, and my kids saw a billboard for it yesterday and asked to go to it, and I said no, and I just said we've been so many times and it wasn't as good last year. It's got so crowded, it's more expensive, and I just don't want to do it. There's other things I've booked for us to do instead, so they just accepted that. And then they saw a billboard for another Christmas experience at Titanic, which is another paid one, and they for a moment were like, oh, we really want to go to that, can we go this year, we've never been. And then it was like as soon as we passed the billboard and it was out of their line of like vision, they completely forgot about it and never mentioned it again. And I think that that actually shows a lot, because it's just a momentary want. It's not like a deep need or like something that they've wanted for ages and they've been like kind of pining for it. It's just like, oh yeah, I see that, it looks cool, can we go? So I'm not doing anything like that. We are going to go to the school carol service, as I mentioned before. I think carol services in general are a good way to get in a Christmassy mood without spending any money. And even if you don't have kids, like there's lots in churches, and sometimes people, I don't know if this happens where you live, it doesn't happen around here, but I know that in certain places carolers go around doors and sing and stuff like that. And you can also find other events that aren't religious if you're not. I want to drive around and look at the Christmas lights like we do most years. I tend to make my kids cookies and hot chocolate or milk, and we drive around like looking at all the nice lights, and it's just like a free thing to do apart from the cost of petrol, and they always talk about it, so I think it's one of their favourite Christmas traditions. I've booked some free events. I booked a silent disco where you basically get headphones with Christmas music on it and then you dance around, and that is totally free. I booked a ceilidh for New Year's, which if anyone doesn't know, it's like a Scottish dance. My partner and my mum and the kids came with me last year too, and we all really enjoyed it. I'm not good at it, but he surprised me because he doesn't really seem like a dancey type of person, but he actually was really good at it. I booked 2 free film screenings in different places for like festive movies. I booked an eco decoration making workshop, which was also free. I think if you spend time and look around and plan ahead, you really easily find the things before they're sold out, and you can then fill your calendar with as many free or low cost activities as possible, and then you're not as tempted to pay for things last minute. As I'd mentioned before, I think I mentioned it anyway, I booked for us to go and see the Christmas lights switch on in town on Saturday, and they listed the tickets at a specific time and I managed to get some, which was really lucky because apparently they sold out quicker than Oasis did, according to my boyfriend. It's funny how quickly people snap up things when they're free and how they all know about it and they know when to claim it basically before it's gone. I seem to be one of those people with those sorts of events that always misses the boat, but this time round I was prepared. I knew when they were listing the tickets and I had an alarm set so I didn't miss it. I want to do things at home like making gingerbread together. Sometimes we do gingerbread men. Last year I did like a full gingerbread house, but it was kind of easier than the standard one because I found it in a magazine, I think. It's basically like this shape, so you make 2 large pieces for the roof and then you make 2 little filler ends, and that's it. You only have to make those 4 pieces and just kind of glue it together with icing, and it was really easy and quick, and my kids love decorating anything with icing, sweets, like writing icing, like chocolate sprinkles, like it's just their favorite thing. So that was really easy to do. And another year when I didn't want to go to the bother of making a full gingerbread house, I made like little tiny gingerbread houses where they were like an individual cookie, where it was just I just cut it in the shape of a house, like just like this, with a little chimney, and the kids loved decorating those. I might make them again, they were really cute. We've made reindeer food before as well, which I've just made with oats. You can get glitter, like edible glitter, and put it in it as well. Or if you don't have that, just put some sprinkles in, and then on Christmas Eve just like sprinkle it around the garden together. It's just like a kind of nice little like festive tradition to do if you have kids. And I don't see why you can't do this stuff as an adult too. Like, I don't know why adults aren't allowed to have as much fun as kids. Like, I would find it fun to do that on my own even if the kids weren't there, but I don't think I would have thought to do anything like that before I had them. Although I did always like to celebrate Christmas and do Christmassy things like baking and stuff. I just love like even just putting on jazz or Christmas music if I'm in the mood for it, and baking. It's just like a really cozy thing to do. You can light a candle and create a Christmassy atmosphere, and that's all like I really want at Christmas time, is to feel the kind of festive cozy atmosphere, because it's getting colder and darker and it just brightens things up, and you can create that without having to spend huge amounts of money. We've done lots of paid activities before, like I went to the drive-in cinema before, and I just decided it's not worth it this year because it is a nice idea and the kids enjoy it, and I think it's the novelty of having a pizza delivered to the car, and then you're watching a movie from your car and you tune into the radio. And maybe if I am like not trying to be as frugal, I will do that again sometime. But in winter, I find our car gets condensation so easily. So basically you spend the whole time trying to like clear the windscreen so you can see the movie. Every time the kids need to go to the toilet, which seems to be like about 15 times throughout the movie, you have to get out of the car into the cold and then walk to this like outdoor like toilet cubicle area in the dark, and it's just not pleasant. And yeah, then you get back and you've missed part of the movie as well. The pizza, if there's 4 of us, is gone in like a second. We don't know whether or not to bring the dog, because we brought a dog we were minding one year with us to it, and that kind of wrecked it too, because he was like just sitting in the back seat like whining because he didn't want to sit there basically. And I think I asked my partner what he thought of it after, and he said that he would rather just go to a normal cinema and have a comfortable seat instead of sitting in the car, which was a fair point. Plus the girls decided to join us in the middle of the movie, like squeezing into the front seat, so it was like my partner sitting in the passenger seat, the kids sitting on the handbrake and gear stick, and then me in the driver's seat. Plus I don't think I really noticed till we did this, but having popcorn and stuff in a seat that has a steering wheel pressed up against you is not easy or comfortable, or it's not conducive to popcorn eating. I think I'm going to, when I do go to markets and I have decided in advance, yes, I'm going to that Christmas market and I have this person in mind that I want to buy for, I'm going to take like the amount of money I need, or set a budget for myself before I even walk in, and not allow myself under any circumstances to go over it. I think you have to be really strict with yourself sometimes, because I know that I can get sucked in a market and I'm like, oh, that's pretty and that's pretty and that's pretty, let's just keep tapping the card. And I think it's not real money in those moments. It's like there's some sort of money island where it's like basically you get everything for free and the money's just sort of appearing in your account and it's not real. But after, I'm like, oh crap, like I didn't realize I spent that much money. When you see the grand total, because it might be lots of small purchases, but they do add up. And I think if you have a strict budget set with yourself before you go in, you're less likely to freak out after when you check your bank statements. And I also want to make the day of decorating into an event on its own. Like, I love putting up the Christmas tree and decorating it. I don't like doing the lights, they're really annoying. I love fairy lights, but I hate putting them up because they're always tangled every single year. It nearly gives me palpitations trying to put them on the tree. So I basically do that part and get everybody to stay out of the way, and then everybody joins in with decorating. I have a lot of free decorations, like, which I was lucky enough to inherit from my parents when they didn't want them anymore, so we just put those all around the place. And we have some candy cane lights for the front garden, which I will put out. And I just like to turn the day of decorating into an event of its own, like put on some Christmas music, have some snacks around and drinks to make it feel festive. There's so many little things you can do to create that feeling without having to pay someone else loads of money to create it for you, and it feels more satisfying doing it yourself. Yeah, the thing I was going to talk about was yesterday I went to this really cool event in Belfast that it was the first ever knitting and stitching show, and I went with my mom and the kids. And I had planned before I went to not buy anything, which was actually very difficult because I'm now out of my no buy month, and there was just so much temptation. And I have realised that maybe just as much as clothes or just as much as experiences, I find looking at craft kits and things like that really tempting. And when I see the finished product that someone's made and I see, oh, there's a kit that I can buy and I can create that at home too, like it's like in that moment I just have to have it. But the one thing I find with buying craft kits is it depends whether you actually ever use them or not, but I find that I do, and like most of the time I will finish the thing unless I'm really struggling to get into it and it's just not something I enjoy. But I got like an embroidery kit and I nearly finished it last night. I just realised like I absolutely love embroidery and I'd never done it before. I'm cross stitch, but it just doesn't have the same appeal, and I like the mixed like textures and stuff of the fabric, so that was worth getting to me. And then I just discovered like I want to do loads more embroidery, and maybe cross stitch isn't for me as much, and maybe that's why I haven't finished my autumn wreath. I don't know, because I've had an autumn wreath cross stitch kit on the go for more than a year now and it's still not done, and now autumn has basically come and gone and here we are again without it being finished. But we'll see what happens with that. I also wanted to do more needle felting, which I'd done before and I loved it. I've been looking for my needle felting kit and haven't been able to find it. I'm kind of regretting that now. If I did, I do that sometimes, but most stuff I clear out I don't regret getting rid of. Sometimes I find with a project or something I will suddenly be in the mood for it when I wasn't when I cleared out, and I thought I'd never do it again at that moment, and then I do want to do it again and I have to get it again. It's just annoying. So there's that. And I got some fabric and it was reduced because it was slightly faded. So I'm going to make a dress with that. I got a pattern for making like a pinafore out of it, and I got some little buttons and things to like embellish it with. So I'm excited about having projects. Sometimes I think purchases are worth making, especially if you've had a very frugal period, because then you feel like you've earned it. And I don't think you can be frugal every single minute of your life. Everything kind of ebbs and flows, and I feel like I've kind of stocked up on some craft supplies to keep me busy throughout the winter months now, and I feel more motivated, and it just made me feel so inspired going there. And I'll show some clips of it and my embroidery, which is still in progress. yeah, so that was just a thought I had about that. But next time I go to a market, I'm going to be strict and only get Christmas presents for other people. So I hope this gives you some ideas, and thanks for watching. And I will see you soon, probably for another chat about Christmas, since it is getting closer and I love Christmas and finding ways to do things on a budget. I'll see you soon. Bye.